Eircom's delighted with the progress we've made to date. I suppose, at a very high level, we're going further than we said, and we're doing it faster than we said. So, from that point of view, we're delighted. Today, half of the country is covered with a high-speed broadband service from Aircom, which is way in excess of any other network that's out there. By the end of 2016, that will be up to 70% of the country covered, and by 2020, in excess of 80%. And within that, so we announced recently 300,000 homes and businesses will have a fibre to the home solution. So that's 1 gig directly into their house. So delighted with that progress. I suppose in terms of, it's a 2.5 billion, we're in the middle of a 2.5 billion infrastructure investment. So an awful lot of money going into that, the Irish economy, and being driven by that investment. And I suppose in some ways you say, well, don't take my word for the progress. If you look at the recent State of the Internet survey for 2015, it shows that Ireland is 4th in Europe and 7th in the world in broadband speed. And we would say Eircom's rollout has been a big driving factor in those scores. So if you look at the government's national broadband plan, what they've said is they want that every home and business in Ireland, no matter where you live, should have access to a minimum of 30 megs broadband. So I suppose we've looked at the population and how it's dispersed. And because Ireland is a little bit different to other countries where the population doesn't tend to be dispersed around villages and little hamlets, it's more ribbon development, so spread out across the country. So our view is that the only way to deliver a minimum of 30 megs and also to have a future-proof solution is to bring fibre to the home into people's homes or farms or businesses. We think that's the only way to deliver on that sort of ask. So that's why we've decided to bring that fibre to the home solution out to 300,000 premises across the country. And I think if you look at that sort of in terms of communities to try and make it make sense for people, that's 1,000 communities. And so that's places like Blacksod and Mayo, Man and Galway, Ring and Waterford. And if you take an even deeper look at that 1,000 communities, we would say that 300 or so of those communities have access to very little broadband today. So for them, you're going to go from very little to having a gig right into your house or your business, which is absolutely fantastic. So that's why we've gone for that solution. I think another benefit for, I suppose, Ireland, and something that we're quite proud of, is that it significantly reduces the amount of money that the government has to put in to the National Broadband Plan. And at a time where there's lots of demands on exchequer funding, every day we hear it, it's great that we've been able to do that. So we're going to build this out ourselves, and that'll save some exchequer funding for other things that are obviously, I'm sure, very deserving. So as we talked about the 300,000 rollout, it's the same solution, a fibre connection directly into your home or your farm or your business. Because again, the way the population is spread out, like if you look at that intervention footprint, for example, it's only about 10% of the population, but it's 90% of the geography. So if you look at just the way Ireland's population is dispersed, we believe the only future-proofed and reliable way to deliver the kind of speeds that the government wants to deliver is with that fibre connection directly into your house. So we think it's absolutely the right solution, no doubt at all in my mind about that. I suppose the second part of that question is, well, why is Aircom the answer? Are the people to win it and deliver it? And I suppose a couple of reasons. First of all, we already operate the largest telecoms network in the country, so we do that today. We have already 12,000 kilometres of fibre out there, and by the time we're finished our current rollout, that'll be up to 18,000 kilometres of fibre, which is substantial in terms of what we're trying to do with MVP. We have access to 1.4 million poles, and they run along the roads of Ireland past people's homes, and they're poles that we can string lightweight fibre on. So again, we have access to those assets. And we're doing it already today. We've done it in Belcarra, in rural Mayo, so we know it works. And one of the great things about Belcarra was talking to all the people down there about how they're using it. So there is a real need out there, whether it's in agri, we met great farmers down there using it in their cattle sheds. We've also small businesses and schools and marts. So the need is there, and we have it working today. And actually, we've had fibre to the home working for the last 2 years as well in Sandyford and Wexford. So, we have the infrastructure and we have it up and running today. We also have the best field force in the country. They know every highway and byway of Ireland, and they know where every piece of infrastructure is. So, to be honest, personally, I can't wait to be involved in that transformation of rural Ireland. And if you think we're 4th in Europe and 7th in the world today, you know, what will we be when we've delivered a gig into all those homes and businesses? I don't believe there'll be a rural community in the world that will have access to faster broadband speeds. And for Ireland to take that spot is fantastic. Eircom's approach is a commercial approach. So Eircom Wholesale is a hugely important business unit for the Aircom group. We have 40 both national and international customers. And in 2011, we kicked off this voluntary program, what we call Wholesale Reforms. But I suppose in a nutshell, it's about listening to our wholesale customers, trying to understand what they want from us, and making sure that they're treated exactly the same way as our consumer business unit or our business unit, so that they, you know, consumer business get nothing that our wholesale customers don't get. And, you know, everyone's bought into that. And the reason they have bought into that is because we want our wholesale customers to grow. We want Sky to do well. We want Vodafone. We want those customers, Pure Telecom, to do well. Because when they do well, wholesale does well. And when wholesale does well, the Aircom group does well. And, you know, and that's what's going on here. So, of course, we are regulated. We have compliance obligations. But I'd like to say we're customer-led. We're listening to them. We're delivering for them. And as a result, we're growing our business unit, which is, you know, which is turning into a growth engine for the Eircom group.